Welcome to Back to the Father, a show about the journey of life focused on our final end, which is God Himself, our loving Father. And now, here's your host, Dave Palmer.
All right, good afternoon, and welcome to this edition of Back to the Father here on the Guadalupe Radio Network social media pages. We're all a little more tightly packed today. Seems like we're losing cameras by the week. And so Sissel is invading my space to my right here, but that's all right. Today is August 20th. The year is 2021, and it's the Friday of the 20th week in Ordinary Time. So glad to have you with us. This is a show where we delve into a particular topic in the Summa Theologia by St. Thomas Aquinas, and we do a way a day, which we'll explain in just a moment. And then we close out the show with some fun trivia. And we always want you to join in on this. You ask us trivia questions. We ask each other. It's a lot of fun. It's a good way to kind of close things out. So we're glad you're with us. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we're on Twitter. And so, Sissel, how you doing?
You know, I'm doing all right.
You want to explain what this is all about?
I missed my corner. Well, a few minutes before we went live on the show, one of our cameras just decided not to work anymore, despite all of our best efforts from multiple people. So I get to be on your side of the table and get a view from your
the eye contact is a little weird because I really have to contort myself quite a bit.
Just look at me in the camera and I know you're looking back at me.
I see you there. So glad to have you with us in a new position. So we'll probably get this fixed for next time. And we have the triumphant return of our dynamic duo of interns, Sam Kavana and Jonathan von Weber-Hansberg. How are you guys doing? Good to have you back.
It's good to be back.
Yeah. We survived without you. I don't know how it happened. Yeah, gosh, barely.
Yeah.
Although they came back and the camera stopped working. So
that's true. We're finding a spot kind of tight. So.
Bad luck. True. Yeah. So school has started.
Yep.
You guys doing okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty fun. I'm starting to enjoy it.
It's not really fun, but you get through it. A lot of papers and reading.
Like week of school already? 2 weeks? How many weeks have you had?
I've done a week so far.
Okay.
Just one for me.
All right. And
don't miss that too.
Not to be forgotten, Diane Xavier behind the glass, socially distancing from all the craziness here in the studio. Diane, good to see you.
I understand.
And Diane is always welcome to jump in whenever she wants to. All right, so I explained the three different parts of the program, and we love participation, feedback. Every now and then we get a phone call. If you want to call in, 877-757-9424. Diane will be watching the phones, and if you want to come on and talk to us about Away a Day, you can also send your Away a Day pictures. Okay, the whole idea of Away a Day. Let me show this little graphic here. We introduced this a number of weeks ago, and what it is, it's very, very Thomistic. It is being aware of the natural world and finding something every day or as often as possible that reminds you in some way of God, of providence, of the God's governance of the world. And it really gives you a different perspective. I had a buddy of mine who's on our Facebook page. He's I went to meteorology school with him, and he told me yesterday on a Facebook chat, he said, this is really giving me a different perspective. I'm seeing kind of the order of things. And so it's pretty cool. And so if you ever want to send anything to us, you can just send it to kath@grnonline.com, and we will highlight your pictures. And I think for the first time, we have almost full participation because most of us have pictures that we are going to be showing. One person does not, but we're not going to shame him.
No.
We're not going to shame him at all.
Also, people can post them live on the Facebook chat.
Oh, is that right?
They can post pictures there, so we'd be happy to see them that way too.
And then they have to kind of explain what it's all about.
Or we can make educated guesses. No.
About what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, we're glad you're with us. And the hour goes by pretty quickly, and we do want to have time for our lightning round of trivia questions. You guys, everybody came with some questions?
I didn't.
Okay.
Well, Sam is representing the interns.
Every week,
I'm sorry.
Every single week, Jonathan says, I don't have any, and then somehow he miraculously comes up with some by the end of the hour.
The pressure gets to him, and he's able to come up with something.
All right. Okay, so we took and when I say we, the GRN staff and employees went out to Midland this week, and we did a 2-day retreat at a retreat center called The Way, and it was really awesome. And so I want to show, and I know Sissel has a few pictures as well, some of the things that we saw when we were out there. And the first one is kind of related. Okay, you see this picture. They're going to take you a couple of seconds on YouTube and Facebook, but we saw the most beautiful rainbow. It's pretty thick as rainbows go. Of course, rainbow, pretty obvious. It highlights the covenant that God made with all of humanity and his faithfulness to his covenant. And so that's pretty obvious to connect to God.
Yeah, it's been a really long time since I've seen an actual rainbow going down all the way to the ground. And I'm like, of all places, Midland, that's where the pot of gold is, huh?
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Did you just insult everybody
I'm sorry.
in Midland?
Midland has beautiful people and some beautiful areas and beautiful rainbows.
Okay, so if the rainbow kind of highlights God's mercy, God's love, his fidelity, his faithfulness, I think that this next picture highlights that God, nature is formidable and nature can sometimes be very threatening. I won't mention any names because it's none of the present company, but there were some people when we saw this big old monster cumulonimbus that were kind of threatened, a little scared. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. Well, I was partially one of those people, I would like to say. Because you wanted to play basketball while that was happening.
I know,
in the
Alondra and
background.
I had no fear.
They had no fear, but that little tiny cloud you see there, kind of in front of the rain, was doing some rotation, and it was closer to the ground.
I'm not so convinced.
No,
but,
Robert and I were looking at it. We were convinced. We thought it was not good.
Now, if you get a textbook, can y'all see this picture on your screens? Yeah, you get a textbook of like clouds and meteorology. This is like a textbook classic cumulonimbus.
Yeah.
And I mean, I admit it's a little intimidating, but I just kept saying it's too far away. I mean, if it gets like right over our head, I'll start worrying. But this thing was, I mean, at least several miles away. I mean, and I just wasn't.
It was
that
beautiful,
afraid.
though.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
Gorgeous.
There's some beautiful lightning you could see back in the background too. Sometimes
That's cool.
It kind of reminds us that we think we're in control, and we all like to be in control of ourselves. But there's some things that you just can't control. I mean, if this thing wanted to come and destroy, God forbid, the Way Retreat House Center, it could do it. I mean, you just don't have a lot of control over things. And I think that's something we have to keep in mind, is that ultimately, we just trust in God, and God is God's in control of everything. All right, so Sissel has a couple here that we're going to highlight. These are ones that you sent, Sissel, so why don't you take away?
Oh, boy.
Boy, that's a cute little...
It's a cute little thing that there's been a lot of discussion on what on earth it is exactly, because I'm not that versed in toads and frogs. So after talking to Jonathan, we think it's a frog, possibly a tree frog.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah,
I don't know about tree frog, but it's definitely
it's
a frog.
something. Well, I looked at a lot of frog pictures that live in West Texas, and it's hard because he's like a baby, and so he's not like a fully grown, a mature one. So it's kind of hard to determine. But this is one that we found quite late at night, also at the retreat center. Our president, Len, is the one who caught this guy and said, "Sissel, you need to take a picture for Dave." So took the picture, and if it is in fact a tree frog, they are definitely pretty cool. What I was looking up online, a lot of things that they can do, they can like cling to windows and things like that, which is kind of funny if you think about it. Just like seeing a little frog completely vertical on a window, just like hi. They also apparently their mating call when they go to the water sounds like a cowbell.
Oh, is that right? Okay. How about ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
Really?
So we should get them in for the share-a-thons, don't you think? So kind of random facts with my little frog friend.
I think I can read.
I've named him Frederick.
I can read this little frog's mind.
Yes.
You know what he's saying?
I'm terrified. Put me down.
No, please let go of my leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a jumpy little guy. He would not hold still very well.
Yeah. How many species of frogs do you think there are in the world?
900.
Jonathan?
I mean, I'd say around 1,000.
5,000.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
So think about that. Again, it blows me away. It's
That's
like,
crazy.
Is that including
Five-
toads? Because I know that.
No, toads are their own thing. Yeah, they're both amphibians, but
Yeah.
that's just frogs. So 5,000 frogs.
That's cool.
Okay, now the next picture I'm going to show, I'm going to warn everybody who's out there, because this is going to be a deceased creature. So if you don't like to see, and it's not gross or anything.
You don't want to
but
see a dead carcass.
Yeah, there may be some people that are a little sensitive to.
That's not that bad.
Yeah, but it doesn't really show much. So Sissel's going to explain this one. A little blurry. It kind of looks like a little blob.
I promised.
There's a funny story behind this one. Have
Our
y'all heard
whole
about this?
yeah, I know they haven't. I was going to keep it from them. I promised our entire staff that I would make sure we brought this up on the show, because we are outside on this back porch, beautiful evening at the retreat center, and this really interesting bug runs by. And it's running
fast.
really fast, very fast. He was running towards the grass. I think he got the idea. There's a lot of people there. Need to leave. And of course, we all, knowing that Dave loves to take pictures of interesting creatures, we're all like, Dave, go get your phone and take a picture of this. And Dave all is excited. He's running after it. And he comes around a corner, hasn't quite laid eyes on it yet. And all of a sudden, we all go, watch out. Slap.
I know.
And he promptly stepped on it. So we have absolutely no idea what this is. But Martin, our general manager of our Spanish station, took a picture just so we can commemorate the bug that Dave really tried.
Say, it kind of looks like a potato bug to me.
Well, hey,
potato bug?
potato bug.
Yeah, because we don't know if it was a spider. I thought
No,
it was.
I don't think it was a spider.
It looked really interesting.
It did look really interesting.
In my excitement and maybe a little bit too excited. I'm surrounded by people. I got my camera. I'm trying to, you're trying to get it into camera mode. These things scurry off pretty quickly. And
I think it was really funny because we started asking Dave about how he brings all different creatures back to God, sort of thing. And so he says, well, what does that represent? And Dave, I think, just said like the circle of life.
But you think about it, we could die at any moment. Okay, this poor little fella.
Put a damper on the conversation there.
I mean, it's true though. I mean, any one of us, could die any moment. I'm sorry, that's just a hard, cold fact, And so we got to be ready. This little guy had to be ready.
I don't know if he was. I don't think he expected the shoe to come off.
And the irony is, I was actually trying to. I had a lot lot of interest in him. I was fascinated by him, but may God rest his little
non-existent.
May God rest his mortal soul.
Yeah, his mortal soul.
His mortal soul.
Mortal soul. Yeah, good point.
Oh my
goodness. All right, we all recognize what these are, right? Okay, so a lot of these little mounds all over the retreat center, and when you see kind of a reddish color, you know what that means?
Fire ants?
Right? Fire ants, yeah. Does anybody like fire ants?
No,
They're
one does.
universally hated.
Well, some people probably like Jonathan, who likes a cockroach, is gonna.
Well, I did actually keep them as pets for a while,
of
but
course
in terms of in terms of just in general in the wild,
cockroaches or fire ants?
Fire ants.
As pets?
Yeah, I caught a queen and I tried to raise a colony.
Because they're pretty much universally hated, and I can understand because they're vicious. Cockroaches aren't vicious. You can hold a cockroach in your hand, and it's not going to bite you. They're just kind of creepy, right? But these things are really, vicious. You put your hand in that, man, you're done. I mean, so what's good about them? Okay, because we got to connect these things with God. What's the point in a fire ant? Or do you know they have 200,000 fire ants can live in a mound? I mean, that's on the high end. 200,000. That's like
they clean stuff up and they're really good at it.
Yeah, I mean,
Imagine
something dies.
stepping in a fire ant pile of 200,000.
A big one. I stepped in it once. It was awful.
That's like some Indiana Jones stuff. The giant ants that come and get you. Ooh.
Yeah. It'd be like a nightmare, wouldn't it be?
Mm-hmm.
I think their Latin name means invincible sun or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, they have a Latin name?
Yeah.
And the thing is, they were imported from like South America, and they're spreading like wildfire, no pun intended.
But
I mean, but one thing they do is they build tunnels. Okay, you got the mound, and then they build tunnels, and it helps to aerate the soil.
Oh.
And also they do, they do eat some bad stuff like the mites and the ticks, and so some of the things they'll eat anything. You put a banana peel in there, you put an apple, you put a frog. I mean, they just devour anything. And now the other thing, and this ties into Aquinas. Aquinas says in the Summa that before the fall of man, before Adam and Eve's sin, there was harmony between man and animals.
So they didn't bite you.
Right. So
that would have been nice.
So I don't even think fire ants would have existed, because the whole point of fire ants is that they bite. That's why they get their name, right?
Actually, they don't bite.
They sting.
Yeah, they grab onto you with their pinchers, and then they use that as like an anchor, and then they sting you.
Oh, okay. So it's not their mouth.
No.
Okay, interesting.
So they're a little
they just
behind.
grab. That's all.
Yeah.
I actually saw it happen once. It was really creepy. One of the bigger ones, like the majors, it bit me, and I could see my skin being like folded up as it bit me, and then it stung me, and it hurt a lot. But I was watching it; it was too cool.
Why
so
would you just watch?
Well, it was cool.
You ever think maybe shaking the thing off? Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
dear.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
All right. Do you let wasps land on you and just kind of
No.
it just kind of analyze?
Wasps are
That's
jerks.
terrifying.
That's
jellyfish and shark attacks. I think. Okay, so you look at the next one.
Yeah, we just
Yeah,
told
oh,
sneak
okay.
peek.
They got a
A
sneak peek.
sneak peek.
That wasn't
okay,
on
you're
us,
cheating.
that was on
So
John.
look at this.
I love this one.
This is
It's
so
amazing.
cool.
I love that.
All right. Okay. First of all, a lot of people call this horny toads. They're not toads.
They're not toads.
They're
Yeah.
lizards. They are fascinating, and we call them. This is on an iPhone. Look, the thing was tiny. Maybe it might be an
Oh, it was
inch.
on an
It was like-
iPhone. Oh man.
Yeah, that thing's
It was like a little bigger than a quarter, really.
It was
That's crazy.
tiny little thing. And you know what the defense mechanism of these things
They
is?
squirt blood out of their eyes.
Did you know that?
They do what?
They squirt blood out of their eyes.
I've seen it happen before. It's horrible.
Yeah. It's the coolest
That's
thing. Yeah.
nasty.
That thing was so cute.
I know they really do. Yeah, in fact, I went to YouTube
Oh.
before the program, and I did. There's a video. It's got like millions of hits on it showing this. I mean, it's not like a tiny little bit either. I mean, this little guy probably couldn't have squirt much, but
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
they squirt blood.
And so is that why they're
pretty
aren't
cool.
they the mascot for one
TCU,
of the
yeah.
TCU?
They're
so,
actually
basically, yes.
Aye, aye.
So they
Which is
squirt blood at
because
people.
the TCU, it's called the horned frogs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not frogs.
Well,
they're lizards.
Well,
And
they're
they call
chunky
them names.
lizards.
That
stubby
doesn't
lizards.
even look like a frog.
Well, you just
I mean,
blame the what's it called? The Arizonians. They're the ones that named it. So.
Yeah.
Are they actually?
They're also almost. I mean, it used to be. You talk to anybody who's older, and they'll say, "Yeah, I used to see these things all over the place, but their numbers are dwindling and dwindling. They're endangered. In fact, in Texas, if we had kept that as a pet, that would have been illegal.
Oh,
You know that? So we did let it go, just so that everybody
good to know. No,
Yeah, we let it go. But one of the biggest culprits of why they're going extinct. Well, first of all, humans, because we keep encroaching into their territory, but also fire ants. Because you know why? Because there's an ant called a harvesting ant. That's their main source of food, and all the fire ants are moving all the harvester ants out. Because the fire ants are just coming in and just dominating
so the
everything.
fire
they
ants
just
are
eat
eating the horny toads.
And eating their eggs.
But can't
too.
they just eat the harvester? I mean, the fire ants.
Yeah, I know. But you get close to a
That's
fire.
true.
You get
Do
close
you
to
really
a
want
fire
to be
ant
stung
pile.
on your insides?
Yeah, but they're all like covered in scales and stuff. Figured that
But if they eat it, what if it like hadn't died when it digested
true,
it and it's
yeah,
just
and
being
it'll just
stung in
stay
its
alive.
stomach?
I mean, if you were that
That'd be
small,
awful.
would you want to go anywhere near a fire ant pile?
That's true.
Because I think they may be immune to the sting of fire ants. I'm not sure.
Oh.
But they can still. I mean, you get 1,000 of them on you. It's going to be doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you're immune or not. That's not going to be good. All right, so that's most of my contributions, and now we go to
Yes, my
Jonathan
contribution.
von Weber-Hunsberg.
That's
with,
an interesting camera you got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
18th
We're a little
century.
bit underdeveloped in the Hansberg household, but all right.
So
So,
what's this one all about?
this is a rattlesnake. So I actually wasn't here for this one. I was at work and I got a text to not come home through the front door because there was a rattlesnake coiled right in front of the front door.
Oh, man, some guys get all the luck.
I know. Yeah.
Dave literally spent
Hi.
an hour looking for one.
You did?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've never seen a rattlesnake in the wild.
Oh really?
Seen them like the zoo.
I got chased by one once when I was younger.
Chased.
What did you do to
They
do
don't
that?
chase people.
We got this one did. I was
No chance.
I was out barefoot in the woods like you do, and
Back in the woods.
yeah, back in the day, and there was a rattlesnake, and it saw me, and it kind of like struck at me and chased me, and I ran away screaming and crying because I was little, and then therefore I'm scared of
To be
rattlesnakes.
fair, if any snake would chase a human, it would be Jonathan that got it to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. it's
I mean, I did poke it when I saw it, but anyway, so I wasn't here for this, but apparently it's tried to bite my dad twice when he tried to move it out, and eventually it slithered away into the abyss of our bushes and was never seen again. Although it did, I did hear a rattling when I came home that day, and I got some interesting.
Well, now you know where to go.
I got a little
Let's come to-
rattlesnake trivia, if I may throw that in. Can I?
I got some too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The can anybody name a type of rattlesnake?
Diamondback.
Diamondback.
Sidewinder.
Okay. Sam, can you name a type of rattlesnake other than a diamondback?
I feel like no. In short, I was gonna go through a long explanation, but in short, I don't think I can.
Okay. Well, so what's the purpose of a rattlesnake? Wow. How do they fit into the big picture of divine providence?
They take care of rats
They-
and mice. That's their big deal.
Exactly.
And they taught us humans how to entertain little children.
Actually, something.
With rattles?
Yes.
one thing that's really interesting is that so when cats hiss, they think that they're actually mimicking snakes.
Yeah.
Because the theory right now is that snakes are the most feared creature in nature, which is interesting because the devil.
Yeah,
That's a
was
good
it
picture.
was embodied
But yeah.
like a snake. Yeah.
I think it's interesting to reflection of that.
I think Sissel's point is very good. Would we have ever created a rattle for babies had it not been for a rattlesnake?
My
would
dad
we
used to
have
play
thought
with
of that?
them because my granddad lived in Arizona. He would shoot them for fun.
And you'd actually have a real
And then he would
rattlesnake.
chop off the rattles and put them in a jar, and my dad would play with them when he was younger.
So the original rattles for kids were actually rattles from
could have been
snakes.
rattlesnakes,
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. And they do keep rat and mice populations down, and
They feed hawks.
and there's some non-venomous snakes that will wiggle the end of their tails and mimic the rattlesnakes, which is so cool because that's built into nature. I mean,
kinda cute.
they don't know what they're doing. And
They're
No,
like,
it's not.
Hey, I got,
People
a
will
little, I got a
hear-
rattle too. No,
I've
no.
seen that
hair
too,
like,
actually.
it sounds like a rattle, and it's not a rattlesnake. I mean,
Interesting.
it's like mimicry within nature. Okay, I mean, God is just going out of His way to impress us. All right, some of the other types of rattlesnakes, since I don't hear a lot of guesses being bandied about. Certainly, you've heard of a pygmy rattlesnake.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those.
Oh, I have.
Yeah.
actually
How about a
have.
sidewinder?
Nope.
Yeah. Mojave.
I go to different parties than y'all do, apparently.
A timber rattlesnake.
I've heard- yeah, those
you've
ones,
heard of
yeah.
timber.
Nope.
Yeah. Banded rock, ridge nose, twin spotted. There's an eastern and a western diamondback, and Massasauga rattlesnake
that
as
one, yeah.
well.
Of
Okay.
We all know that one.
Wow. was on the tip
Yeah.
of my
So, all
tongue.
right. So here's Jonathan's second contribution.
Yeah. So
Chickens.
these are my beautiful chickens. Okay, so I think I spend a lot of time outside watching my roosters kind of peck around and scratch on the ground and interact with everyone, and I think that they're the coolest animals in the world. They're awesome. So, did you know that first off, roosters have their own separate social structure away from the hens? The hens are kind of like mindless robots that just eat and lay eggs, and the roosters. No offense,
Should
but
Sissel be offended right now?
the roosters
should.
roosters are just like they care for the flock. They herd them around. The hens will follow the roosters wherever they go, even if it's into danger. Here, hold on.
That's love.
Yes. The roosters will get food for them. They'll kill things and bring it back to them, and they'll starve themselves just to make sure the hens are okay. They protect them. If like a coyote comes up, and my rooster is like that big, if my dog comes up there, he will throw himself in front of the hens.
Oh, really?
if
So,
the-
Interesting.
this is actually a model of chivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the hens ever get in a fight, the rooster attacks them to make them stop fighting. I've seen that happen too. And the rooster's social status is based upon the number of hens they have following them around.
Oh,
Which I said was kind of, that makes
Yeah.
sense, you know?
yeah.
Like
right.
I have a big loud rooster who's terrified of my smaller quiet rooster because he doesn't have any hens following him around.
Yeah, interesting.
Now
Interesting.
something that is really interesting is that there was a saint who's I can't remember which one, but I do know for a fact some saint said that he would bless the roosters in his monastery so that their crow would act similarly to a church bell and scare away demons. And he believed they said that it was good luck to have a rooster around. And then in mythology, the crow of a rooster is it scares away basilisks and other evil creatures.
Wow.
Now,
Interesting.
Something interesting is that the rooster is a symbol of Saint Peter because
Of the crowing 3 times?
because of the crowing, and
Yeah.
it's just said to kind of be a medieval symbol of the Pope in a way. In the time before Christ, it represented God as a creator because it crowed before the sun came out, like its crow brought the sun around. A golden rooster is said to symbolize Jesus Christ because he breaks the power of darkness, it brings forgiveness of sins, and announces the new day by the power of his resurrection. Also, depending on the size, roosters often go after snakes and kill them. And don't eat them, they just attack them and kill them.
Just kill him.
Just peck 'em to death.
Because
Yeah.
killing the devil. Also, interesting fact, my great, on and on, grandfather was saved by a rooster. Because
How do you know this?
it's
How do you know
it's a
this?
family legend because that's
Oh
why
my
the
You don't,
rooster.
even, you don't even know how many greats there are. I mean, you're
Well,
just like
no,
making it up.
it's an actual story that's written down. So the
What's
symbol.
his name?
I've
Von
written
Weber
stories
Hansberg?
down.
No, his
too.
name was Heinrich, and he was a von Hansberg. And the
Heinrich von Hansberg.
yes, so
Great.
the symbol of the Hansberg family is a red rooster, and that's because he was sleeping, and right before there's a robber who was going to kill him and take all of his money, a rooster crowed and it woke him up, and he killed the robber. And then he took the rooster with him and named it Heinrich, and then thus the rooster became the symbol of the Hansbergs.
Interesting.
So I wouldn't be here if it weren't for
Are
chickens.
any of these, any of these in the picture a rooster, or is these just chickens?
So the first one is a rooster, that's Dante.
Oh, okay.
The
Hello,
ones
Dante.
the ones on my arm, that's Dante, and behind him is Inferno because puns. And then The third one we've named Heinrich because he's the best looking rooster.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, wow, that's really neat.
Yeah.
Well, you came with some good information there. Thank you.
yes.
A couple of other quick facts. There are 25 billion chickens in the world. I don't know who counted, but
How did you get them all together on a plate? Just to count them?
25 billion with a B, okay? And also, chickens are technically dinosaurs. Did you know that? They
That's
came.
messed up.
That's
No, they are descendants of the dinosaurs. Look it up sometime.
This
okay?
is what we got left with.
Hey, that's not bad. We got an upgrade as far as I'm
also, I
concerned.
feel like, what's the purpose of chickens other than to
Feed us.
Eat them?
save Jonathan's great grandfather? But yeah, I mean they're so tasty.
Oh, they're delicious.
I mean-
Every
I mean,
culture eats those things.
It's kind of like
everywhere.
if God didn't want us to eat chickens, why did He make them so darn tasty? I mean, these things, and just 95% of their body is like tasty meat.
It is.
I mean,
and
think
eggs
about it.
too. Eggs are just
Eggs
as
are
nature's
great.
food. The purpose of an egg is to feed a chicken, so it feeds us too. It's
I
great.
know. Yeah, that's right. Interesting.
good.
All right. So there's a couple more real quickly because we got to move on to our Aquinas. Look at that leaf.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
Just take that in.
Is that a
I'll give you background real quick. I'm out
I know what it
blowing
is.
leaves with my son a couple Saturdays ago, and 99.99999% of all the leaves are these just dull brown leaves. Okay, I mean it's summertime. There's no colorful leaves, and I look down at this one, and I'm like, wow, that is a cool looking leaf. And I don't know what else to say about it other than it's just cool. And the green of the leaf is what does the chlorophyll and helps to feed the tree and all that. So I just thought that was pretty cool. Finally, last one. It's the cockroach of the bird family, the crows.
Wait, that's not a crow.
It's not.
No, it's a roadrunner.
no? Roadrunners have the
No.
little thing on top of
No,
their head.
it's
don't
a roadrunner. No, sorry, no, that's a grackle. Sorry.
A grackle. Are they in the crow family?
Kind of. They're blackbirds, but they're not.
Who invited the guy that knows more about these things than me? No, I'm kidding. I actually identified it on my Facebook page as a crow, and nobody corrected it.
No, it's a grackle.
Okay, all right. So let's just pretend it was a crow. And crows are always synonymous with like creepy stuff and Halloween and witches and death and funerals and all
All
this
the happy things.
all this crazy.
And Saint Benedict.
And I made the point one
Oh.
time. I said, has anyone ever said, "Man, I saw the most beautiful crow yesterday"? Like nobody ever says that. Like nobody says I saw a beautiful cockroach. And so but these are important creatures. First of all, they eat stuff like you drop. You always see them like at the gas station, like the pigeons and the
Oh, yeah.
crows.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's all the stuff that we're dropping and they're cleaning it up. So they're helping to the environment. They also, look this up sometime, crows will have, air quotes, funerals.
Oh, I've heard about that.
When a crow dies, they'll all gather around it. But they're not mourning it. Apparently, what they're doing is they're looking at it to try to figure out how it died, so that they don't die the same way. So they're trying like
Smart.
investigating the crow's death. Pretty cool, huh?
It is.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Detective Crow.
Okay. So anyways, and there was something else about crows that were cool. They got big brains, and they actually, as birds go, they're pretty smart.
Which is kind of funny because isn't it an insult to call someone a bird brain?
Yeah, because
So
most birds have small brains.
So if someone says bird brain, you could be like, yes, I do have a crow's brain. Thank you very much. Turn that around on you.
Oh yeah.
No one will get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but hey, you'll feel good.
Yeah, they remember people. They can hold grudges. Like if you
geez.
like did something really bad to a crow or like stole some of his food and it sees you like a week later, it would remember you.
What would it do?
I don't know.
Start
It's just
biting.
like
Peck, peck, peck.
This type of spider that does that too, the banana spider.
Yeah.
They'll vibrate their web if they don't like you. It's happened to me. I hate it. I hate spiders. They're the worst things ever.
Wait, so don't you have to like touch?
If you poke them or mess with them or try to kill them, then if they're still there and they see you, they'll vibrate their web at you really aggressively when they see
Really?
you. Try to scare you away.
Man,
That's
animals
so
are so
works.
cool. Yeah, but you got to try to find what it is that God's trying to reveal to us through all these cool creatures. All right, that's a way a day. If you want to comment or post anything, let us know that you're out there. We know you're out there. 877-757-9424. You can call in. All right, now it's the Aquinas portion of the show. We're going to talk about the first 3 days of creation of the world. All right, and I'm going to...
Well, nope, not that one.
Diane's ahead of herself today. All right, so do you guys know if I said like what was created the first day, the second day, the third day? Do y'all know off the top of your head?
I
what
know
it
because we
was?
talked about this morning.
You were talking about it.
No, you and I were talking about
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what was created the first day?
the heavens and the earth. That was the first thing that was said.
The first thing that was said. Yeah, okay.
Water?
Okay. No, like
No,
this
it
is
was-
okay.
no.
These are the first 5 lines of Genesis. Okay. It says, "In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth." Okay. So think about this. And this is going to become kind of important here because he puts that first line on there. This is what Jonathan and I were talking about, and then he goes on in verse 3, and it was
To actually
like the
say
first
it's
thing.
light.
So what Aquinas and the church fathers kind of like grapple with was, what does that first line mean? Because he hasn't started creating anything yet. And why did he say he created the heavens and the earth? And that's actually going to play a big part of this. But look at this. It says he created the heaven and the earth was without form or shape,
Ooh.
So it
with
didn't-
darkness over the abyss and a mighty wind sweeping over the waters. Okay, so officially nothing's really been like officially created yet. But
Except water and
But
wind.
what is something that doesn't have form or shape? So if I said to you, "Look, I got a toad in my hand, but it doesn't have form or shape." So what is it? What is it? It's invisible. So how can it be there if it doesn't have form or shape?
I don't know.
Uh,
I mean,
I mean, I have
think
no
of it, and
idea.
I know, but we've read this like we read this
Hundreds
all the
of
time,
times.
and see, this is the kind of thing that you'll notice is that Aquinas is going to lean on Augustine and Damascene and Jerome and Dionysius, and he's like, what does all this stuff mean? Okay, so the earth was without form or shape. All right, so think about that. I mean, that's the coolest thing in the world. It's like you got an earth, but there's no form or shape. So what is it? It's like in the mind of God.
concept,
It's like an idea. It's a concept.
Okay.
So like I'm thinking of a frog right now, and I could say in a sense I'm presenting a frog to you, but it's not. There's
you
no
have frogness in your head.
Frogginess.
What did we say?
Frogginess.
Turkeyness?
Turkeyness.
yeah.
Frogginess.
Yeah. So, all right. So, and then a mighty wind swept over the waters. Okay. Most people say, okay, the mighty wind was the Holy Spirit. Okay, because there's not
So,
to have wind, you have to have like pressure gradient.
yeah.
and
There
you
actually
have
has
to
to be
have
an
all this kind
earth.
of stuff. Yeah. Right. So, all right. So those first 2 lines have befuddled theologians and philosophers, whether you knew it or not, because you're going to find out. Because they're like, wait a second, what does that mean? Because God hasn't really officially created anything yet. So, okay, so then he says, God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness called night. Evening came, and morning followed the first day. Okay, but I'm gonna, and I don't say, because I think I mentioned to you this morning, Jonathan. What's the problem here with there being light? There's
So without form.
what, the sun isn't created until the 4th day.
Oh,
oh,
The light just won.
What?
Isn't that cool though?
that
There's no sun. So
Wait.
so what's the light?
is it God? He-
Well, okay.
Concept.
Funny
was
you
it the
ask.
Son of God?
Oh,
Hey, well, but okay. So there's a lot here, but I'm only gonna do this one tiny little section here. And if you're playing along at home and you have any questions and you want to chat with us, we'd love to hear from you. Okay, so one of the objections that Aquinas brings up is he says, further, it is light that distinguishes night from day, and this is affected by the sun, which is recorded as having been on the 4th day. Therefore, the production of light could not have been on the first day. So how do you have light without a sun? Okay. See, like we never think about this stuff. It's like, okay, created light. 4th day, created the sun. So what does that mean? All right. So here's what Thomas says in response to this. It's kind of cool. It's really, really deep. Okay. So put on your philosophy hat here. He
Aquinas
says.
cap.
He says, I agree. I answer with Dionysius that the light was the sun's light, formless as yet, being already the solar substance and possessing illuminative power in a general way, to which was afterwards added the special and determinative power required to produce determinate effects. Okay, so the sun to us produces light, like lightens things up, and heat, right? And so it didn't have that, but it was formless. So you had light, but I guess you couldn't see it.
So, oh.
So it was just. So it was like.
I thought I had a thought, but then I realized I really didn't. I didn't.
I almost had a thought,
I
right?
almost had a thought, but
So
I was
okay,
confused.
wait. So it's like
But it didn't
basically
actually exist.
he like. Okay,
He created the idea of light?
or he created. Okay, this is gonna sound stupid now that I'm saying it
See,
out
that's
loud,
what I
but
think every time I.
It's, or is like he made this, okay, this sounds stupid, but he made the sun and didn't turn it on yet, or is it like he laid the groundworks for it, but was waiting for it to?
I kind of like that analogy.
Yeah,
it's
that
like he created it as an idea and formless.
Right. It was just the
He's got it
idea
all worked
of,
out,
of
but he
that
hasn't
there
actually
needs
like
to
put
be
it into
light.
action yet.
Yeah. Have we talked about primary
It's like
matter?
it's
We
blueprints.
did a while ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
primary-
blueprints. Yeah,
Blueprints for the light.
Yeah, like the plan for it. It was put in place. The idea of it. It was formless, but
Not executed.
nothing was like lit up yet, so to speak.
That could have been like light was the first thing you thought. Oh, I'll make light. That's a good idea. You know?
And
Not that he thought like that, but
and the one thing philosophers talk about a lot is that when God started creating things, the matter had to appear kind of out of nowhere, right? Because you bring matter and form together.
Mm-hmm.
So where did the matter exist? I think did we talk about that last week or the primary matter?
Not last week.
It's like really deep, and you think, okay, why can't it just appear? But anyways. Okay, so then he says, night and day are brought about by the circular movement of a luminous body. But remember, and he's writing this in the 13th century, but movement of this kind is an attribute of the firmament, and we read that the firmament was made on the second day. Therefore, the production of light, dividing night and day, ought not to be assigned to the first day. Okay, so the firmament is day 2, and he's saying, well, how could there be like cycles of night and day? There's no sky. There's no it seems like light is dependent. And if there's darkness, there has to be, I don't know. It's kind of weird. And, but let me go on to day number 2. Okay. So God said, let there be a dome in the middle of the waters to separate one body of water from the other. Because they believed back then, okay, at the beginning, there was there's water covering the earth, but water hasn't been created yet. Okay, because all we had was light, right? So, and then there's water above because that's where the rain comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So they had this thing like the sky, okay, in between it. God called the dome sky. Evening came and morning followed the second day. So the first thing he created was light, but a formless light, and then he forms the sky, which is kind of weird because but he's introducing water, but water hasn't been really even mentioned yet, has it? But at the very beginning, like in the first line. Okay, so he says it would seem, this is the objection, it would seem that the firmament was not made on the second day, for it is said God called the firmament heaven, but the heaven existed before days, as is clear from the words, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. For therefore, the firmament was not made on the second day.
Okay, wait, well, hold on.
And also, angels are never mentioned in the creation account. And most philosophers, theologians have said in that first line, when it said God created the heavens and the earth, he created the angels. Okay, because there was never a time in the creation account that he said they created angels. So when were they created, right?
Okay, but wait, so I'm a little bit confused by this. So he says that, so if heaven was created just in the beginning when he said that as concept, then he's saying that heaven was already made, but wouldn't that also be a concept at that point? Because if he's bundling them both together, if heaven was made but earth was still just a concept at that point, how does that work?
Yeah, well, I mean, see that's where it gets confusing because those first 2 lines confuse everything because he said when God created the heavens and the earth, and then it goes on to kind of like specify. So, but then in the second one, you got the firmament separating water from water. But okay, so is there already water there? What's going on? And so when was water created? Was it what do we got here? It's I don't know. I mean, if you read the whole article, the whole questions, you can see that Aquinas really wrestles with this stuff. He's really trying to figure it out. He's going back to all the church fathers to see what they said, and he's leaning on all the giants and just trying to figure out. Of course, in the end, it's a mystery, exactly how creation happened, right? So this is kind of long, but the second paragraph here, he says that the heaven recorded as created in the beginning is not the same as that made on the second day, and there are several senses in which this may be understood. Augustine says that the heaven recorded as made on the first day is the formless spiritual nature, and that the heaven on the second day is a corporeal heaven, okay, so an actual physical heaven, according to Bede and Strabus. And now just kind of go on there. He says in the next line, according to Damascene, according to another theory, he says, according to Augustine. So you can at least see something that I don't think we do enough today is when we're trying to figure stuff out, go back to all the sources and, what did this person say? What did this person say? And so that's what Aquinas is trying to figure out. Okay, when was the heaven created? Is this, what's the firmament? What's this dome? What's separating water from water? Okay, pretty interesting. Okay, day 3. Now he says, let the water under the sky be gathered into a single basin so that the dry land may appear. And so it happened. So it would seem that now he's kind of creating the earth, right? The dry land. So it happened, the water under the sky was gathered into its basin, and the dry land appeared. God called the dry land earth, and the basin of water he called sea. God saw that it was good. And then, interestingly, God said, let the earth bring forth vegetation, every kind of plant that bears seed, and every kind of fruit tree on earth that bears fruit with its seed in it. And so it happened, the earth brought forth vegetation, every kind of plant that bears seed, and every kind of fruit tree that bears fruit with its seed in it. God saw that it was good. Evening came, and morning followed the third day. All right, so now we got vegetation all of a sudden. But a lot of times people say they like the first 3 days, God is creating like the sky, the earth, and the waters. And then in the next 3 days, he populates those. And so he's going to populate the sky with the birds. He's going to populate the water with fish. And on the 6th day, he's going to populate the land with animals and humans, right? So you're kind of laying the foundation, and then you populate it. But then what he's going to say here in a moment is, well, then why, if you're not going to populate things until the 4th, 5th, and 6th day, why the plants appear?
Oh, well, I was just thinking that it'd be ready for all the animals to come eat.
But
setting like the
Yeah,
salads out.
Setting the table.
I thought that they didn't even eat, what's it called? What was I heard someone say that you wouldn't eat plants either because it's something dying still. Or is that... Or they count.
What? Oh, because there's no death, you mean?
Yeah, because I heard Jimmy Akin talking about that at some point.
Like the death didn't come until the fall?
Yeah.
And like for anything?
I think so, yeah. I mean, that's what he was saying. I just didn't know if that was...
Yeah, interesting. I'm not sure. Like nothing would have died.
Yeah.
And there would have been, of course, no humans are created yet, so you don't have, but the plants are there. Okay, so Thomas brings up this objection. He says, it would seem that it was not fitting that the production of plants should take place in the 3rd day, for plants have life, as animals have, but the production of animals belongs to the work not of distinction, but of adornment. Therefore, the production of plants, as also belonging to the work of adornment, ought not to be recorded as taking place on the 3rd day, which is devoted to the work of distinction. So, again, like I said before, the first 3 days are distinction. You've got the land, you've got the sky, you've got the water. And the next 3 days are adornment. And so now you're going to adorn those 3 things. But for some reason, maybe he's like, well, let's go ahead and throw the plants in first. Okay, we'll do this on the 3rd day. We got the plants. But Thomas's answer to this is interesting. He says, life in plants is hidden, since they lack sense and local movement, by which the animate and the inanimate are chiefly discernible. And therefore, since they are firmly fixed in the earth, their production is treated as part of the earth's formation. So he's not putting them on par with animals because they don't move and they don't have senses. He's saying they're not quite, they don't quite live up to the dignity of an animal because they don't have senses and they don't move about. So they're kind of like part of the earth. Okay, pretty interesting. So what do y'all think about all that?
That's cool.
I'd never thought of it that much.
Yeah,
I've always just been like, yeah.
The creation story. Got it.
I know, but it's actually, and I hate to say it, but it actually like complicates it the more you think about it. Like, can't we just say there was light and be done with it? I mean,
it just happened, guys.
Yeah, it all just happened.
And the truth is, we don't quite know because there's actually 2 creation accounts, and there's one in Genesis 1 and one in Genesis 2. So that further complicates things, but just kind of shows that Aquinas was very interested in trying to figure all this stuff out. And so then, I think day 4 is going to be populating the air with birds and stuff like that. And then day 5 is going to be the waters and the fish and all that kind of stuff. And then day 6 will be animals and man. And then day 7, he's going to chill. Right?
Chill.
So this is going to be a multi-part series. if I'm right.
Sam is just not realizing. He's like, wait, we're not finishing creation today, are we?
You get to be confused next week too,
Ah.
Sam.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mind blown more.
Yeah, but it also shows you the different levels of creatures. Like we talked about this before, the the inanimate, like the rocks, and then you get the animate, like plants with the vegetative soul, and then you move up to the animals, which have sensitive souls, and they can feel pain, and they can move, and they have passions, and they can get angry, and some of them can get sad, and that kind of thing. And then the crown of creation is the man that is kind of like the animals and also kind of like the angels. We got the spiritual side of the angels, and then the corporeal part of the animals, and then there we are, right there in the middle. So pretty cool.
Stuck in the middle with you.
So to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, we covered a lot of ground. I don't know
Yes.
if anybody is actually paying attention at home with us. Do we got anybody out there? Any comments? Any thoughts? Are we just talking to ourselves?
I think
here?
we just created a bunch of existential crises in people. That's all.
Yeah.
They're just like, I've been reading the first 2 lines of the Bible
All wrong.
my whole life.
I know, but you go back real quickly. Let me just go back to this first line. And again, if you just want to get really confused, in the beginning when God created the heavens and the earth was without form or shape. I don't think anybody ever pays attention to that. What does that mean? The earth is without form or shape? Because
That's true, yeah.
it's like, okay, well, what did he create? What is that? There's no form, there's no shape, but it's still an earth, and darkness over the abyss, and a mighty wind sweeping over the waters. Just think about that. I don't even think our little minds can even comprehend
No,
what
they
that was
can't.
like, because
Our little bird brains can't.
Crow brains.
Crow brains. Our
brains.
crow brains.
all right, let's move on to the third and final part
It's that part
of
of the
this
show.
little program, and
Okay.
this is go.
Oh, it's that time of the show where we give Dave Suma to talk about, and he gives it right back.
That's right back at you. All right, and if you're out
Which
there,
is still not in our contract, I feel like, but it's okay.
no. Okay, who wants to go first? Sam, did you come equipped?
I do have. I use some things. I can
You
go
have
first.
some things. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Really, we were kind of working together to figure out what trivia we could get. So I thought this time it would be easier to get a harder trivia if we just went for a quote. So I have a quote, and you're gonna have to fill in the blank.
Of who it is, or fill in the blank of the
Of
quote?
what?
The quote.
The quote.
Okay,
It's
all
a
right.
St. Thomas Aquinas quote,
Well,
right?
Oh, it is. Okay.
It is the St. Thomas Aquinas quote. This one I think is relatively common. So it goes, you're just going to fill in the last word. Quote, for those with faith, no evidence is necessary. For those without it, no evidence will.
Persuade, convince, prove.
How many guesses does he get? No, sure.
I got
No,
the right
those
idea
were all
there.
unfortunately incorrect.
Oh,
But there could have been
gosh.
different translations.
Oh, man.
I keep forgetting about the bomb.
Okay, for those with faith, no. Okay, say it again.
For those with faith, no evidence is necessary. For those without it, no evidence will suffice.
Okay, that's the word they use. Okay, suffice. Okay, does it prove?
I was, yeah, the
convince?
same thing.
I mean, yeah.
It's kind of close.
I'm kind of wondering, in hindsight, I'm wondering if there's going to be different translations. Because I feel like I've heard this quote before, and I feel like there's a good chance that it's in a different, slightly different
All right.
translation.
All right. Should Diane take the
No.
explosion?
No,
away
no.
and
Yeah, take it
give
back.
me the applause?
Nope.
Okay. so I think has made up her mind. No. Okay. All right, Sam. Good. So that's your one contribution. So thank you for doing that. Now Jonathan always starts off the show saying I didn't bring any, and then he magically comes up with some
Oh,
at some point.
you want to hear my great magic question? Okay.
Okay.
On, wait, what year was it? What year?
What year was it?
I don't
When
know.
your great
It's
great 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 great
2021.
Yeah.
grandfather got
Let's just
attacked by
say-
a chicken.
In 1300 and something, on a Wednesday,
Okay.
Aquinas got out of bed, and he said, What did he say?
Oh man, this is the lamest question I've ever heard.
Sorry,
in my
I'm sorry.
life.
All
We're running
right.
He
out of
said,
things.
"Good morning."
I don't know. I mean,
So you're just
All right,
I'm
Dave.
speculating.
I actually
stalling.
I have a question.
this one.
I have a
We'll move
question.
I actually came prepared with
I
questions.
actually came prepared with a question. Well, I'm really glad
Okay.
that you said we could go beyond St. Thomas Aquinas because I was
Yes.
starting to get a little bit disheartened. So this is a quick round.
Yeah,
Dave.
okay.
You're going to have a timer
All
for
right.
how long. I'm going to give you 20 seconds to name.
20 seconds?
20
seconds to
seconds.
name
We
as
should
many
lower it down
things
to
as
like
I
10
can.
seconds.
or
Yeah,
what?
yeah. So name all of something that I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
You have 20 seconds to name the 5 precepts of the Catholic Church.
The 5 precepts. You got to go to church on Sundays and holy days of obligation. You got to support the church financially. You must. You is it abstaining
5
from meat?
seconds.
From meat?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's the third. And you've got to. I got 3.
You got 3. You got
Three
3.
isn't
The
bad.
2 that you missed are confession of a serious sin at least once a year
Oh, and communion.
and reception of Holy Communion
Oh,
at least
okay.
once during the Easter
Gosh,
season.
That was a good one.
That was
was
good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I
all
was like,
right.
you know what? We'll just give it a hard.
Yeah. Now, how many of those did you guys know?
Honestly, I've actually thought a lot of other precepts, so I kind of had a little upper hand.
I think I know them all. I think it would just I would not get
Yeah.
them in 20 seconds.
Right.
Is the thing.
Because when there's a clock,
It panicked. Your
ticking,
brain just like
you
die.
just you don't think
Zones
clearly,
out.
right?
It goes away.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. I've got 6 questions,
Oh boy.
and I'm gonna keep track. Just when I say it, any of you can jump in right off the top of the bat and just say it. You get a point, and then we'll crown the champion. Diane, if you want to play, you can. If you don't want to, don't worry about it. If you want to play at home, you can. You've got a bit long delay, so you're not going
You have to be really fast.
You guys have
You
to
have
be
to
very
anticipate the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so start answering right now.
So is it a free
okay?
for all? Anyone who wants to.
Free for all. You just jump in, okay? Question number 1.
Yes.
Whose feast day do we celebrate today?
Saint Bernard of Clairville.
Oh, I
Sam!
did know that,
I
but
didn't
I
know
just didn't register that fast
with
enough.
The win.
I also like how he
Alright.
hit his imaginary buzzer. Can we get buzzers? We could like.
Ooh, yeah, we should
Yeah,
have buzzers.
yeah, you don't have to do the buzzer because you actually are losing time by distance.
true,
Wait,
yeah.
wait. I actually
not,
have
not
a
that it would have
buzzer.
mattered because nobody else knew. All right, question number 2. Which religious order did Saint Bernard of Clairvaux found?
Oh, I was gonna say something really, really dumb. What did he find?
Saint Bernard.
Cecil's about to do a search on
I
the
know. I'm
internet.
just thinking.
And they have a school across the street from us.
Yeah, I know. I did a PSA for them today.
Oh my gosh! Wait,
Oh, man.
the
Bernardites.
No,
what?
there's schools across the street from us on 114 here. You guys don't know what schools across the
UD?
street here?
I don't pay attention
What-
to
what's
this.
The
going on?
Cistercians.
Cistercians.
Cistercians, really?
Yeah. He
Wow.
founded the Cistercians.
That's
didn't know that.
Not good.
Okay, so third question is Saint Bernard of Clairvaux lived most of his life was in which century? He crossed over
This is
centuries.
too oddly specific.
No,
The
you got
800s?
like 21
Yeah,
chances.
so let's.
I mean,
you
know,
say 800s. I'll say
I'll say-
900s.
Yeah.
I'll say 1700s.
Yeah.
the 1700s.
Yeah.
You just went
way
way
too. What the heck?
Okay,
I don't know.
none of you are correct.
Aw.
Anybody want to guess again? Okay,
1600s? I don't
quick
know.
answer. Did he live before or after Aquinas?
Before.
After.
Okay, Sam for the win. He lived from 1090 to 1153.
Oh, wow.
Aquinas was born in 1225.
Okay.
So he lived right before the century before Aquinas. Okay, if you're counting at home, Sam has 2. Cecil has a 0. But she
Well,
does not
Cecil, maybe Cecil should get a half point because she was closest in her first.
No, that's
guess.
that's insulting.
Yeah.
I'll take the pity point. No, I'm joking. I'm
All
joking.
right,
It's fine.
This one is you're really gonna have to be on top of the game to get this one. Whose feast day do we celebrate tomorrow?
Oh.
This is liturgical calendar day.
Oh, what's tomorrow?
Okay.
Oh.
And it's a pope.
Oh, Pope Pius the 12th.
No.
Pope Pius
The
the 10th.
10 to 10.
Oh, all right.
Cecil for the win. Yes.
That just sounded right.
Okay, so now we got ourselves a contest.
Dang it.
Sam with 2, Cecil with 1. Jonathan Von Weber Hansberg
Is here. He's
still
here and
Still thinking
participating.
about what St.
Yeah,
Thomas said
participation
on
award.
Wednesday morning when he woke up. Okay. When was Pope Pius X Pope, approximately? Like, give me a decade.
Oh, my
like,
goodness.
1800s?
No. That'd be a century. But,
Oh, yeah.
It's 1900s.
okay.
No,
so
it
No,
was 18.
no, it's-
18.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
somewhere in the
He-
1870s.
he-
1890s.
I'll say 1880s.
18,
Okay, so each of you guess, and whoever's closest.
Yeah.
You got to say a decade.
Oh, wait.
Oh, a decade.
Okay,
So
I'll
I said
say
18
1850s.
1850s.
1890s because I have absolutely.
1870s.
Sissel for the win.
Oh!
From 1903 to 1914. He died right
Wow, we were all
before
wrong,
World
though.
War I started.
Oh, nice
Okay,
time he died.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now we have Sissel with 2, Sam with 2,
are-
Jonathan
You,
Von
you,
I was just
you don't have
like-
to keep saying it. It's okay. We all know.
No,
Can I just say that Sam has actually known the answers? I've just given guesses, and I just happened to get them right.
All right, so it was St. Pius
How I got through
X.
school, too.
His namesake is in the SSPX.
Wait, who?
Okay?
Okay.
The Society of St.
St.
Pius
Pius
X. You've heard of
X, right.
SSPX,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, so for the win, to make yourself respectable, who founded the SSPX?
I have no idea.
You guys,
Archbishop Lefebvre.
very good, Sam. Yes.
See, again,
Snake.
Sam actually knows things.
Archbishop Lefebvre, Marcel Lefebvre.
Well, they're schismatics. No one cares.
That is not. No.
Okay, so Sam comes in with a big win. Okay,
I'll take that second place.
I won't say the final score. Okay.
I was in second place.
Okay. But all right, so Archbishop Lefebvre, who got excommunicated by John Paul II for ordaining bishops illicitly back in the 1980s. All right, that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
There's a little bit of honor and respect for yourself. But,
I think that we all play a part here.
So you had the tone of like one of those players who just finished a soccer match or something. Like, we gave it our all.
We lost.
We came out. We did the best we could.
We survived.
We all walk away with our heads held high.
And very confused.
Keep
All
that
right.
up. Keep chin up.
You're looking at me.
Chin up. Chin
Yeah,
up, Jonathan.
and didn't get a chance for Jonathan to explain his hat, or anybody for that matter.
I forgot to.
Those who are actually. Sam brought a hat.
I forgot to
You
put
did.
it on. and,
Okay.
He looks like
This is
Indiana
no
Jones
secret.
Did
hat.
y'all
Something special,
coordinate
it's just a
this?
regular
Because your
hat.
hats are very similar.
No, they didn't, but they just happened, right?
Fedoras.
It just happened.
They're just fancy.
Ooh, he does look like
Very
Indiana
nice.
Jones, though, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
very
Thank you.
nice. Okay, thanks for wearing a hat.
Mobster.
Yeah, and
I got
Sissel got her hat at
my
the
brand new one.
retreat this week.
My
Nice.
visor.
It's a good looking
By
hat.
the way, I haven't worn a visor since I played softball when I was 8. The little rascals.
I think of that like, and why do women? Why do women wear visors and men wear hats?
Kent got a visor, though.
Oh wow! I think I know the answer to that actually, because women don't go bald, and men need
Oh.
hats to. I mean, that's the main reason I wear a hat is because the too much.
Interesting. I never
Don't
thought
you
about
think
that.
that's
I always
the
thought it
case?
was because like hair or whatever, like a ponytail.
Yeah,
it could
I will
stick out
say
still.
it's harder to style a girl's hair with baseball hats, but top of our hats get hot too.
Yeah, but you have more hair.
That is true. Oh,
Yeah.
again, because we don't go bald.
All right.
And also, it's just longer, and
More fabulous.
Everybody out there in social media land, we know a lot of you are watching this after the fact. Thank you for watching. So Sissel, great to have you on.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your second place finish.
Thank you.
Sam Kavana, thanks for being here. Maybe we'll
It's
see you
a
next
pleasure.
week, right?
Hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jonathan Von Weber Hansberg, we've got some great parting gifts for you. Thank you for playing.
what?
And Diane Xavier, taking calls feverishly today. Thank you very much, Diane, for your contribution and for keeping everything running. So until next week, we'll see you. This has been Back to the Father here on the Guadalupe Radio Network. God bless you.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for Back to the Father. And don't forget, the glory of God is the human person fully alive. If you have comments about the show, email Dave Palmer at grnonline.com.